Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. Families and survivors have come together to honour the lives lost half a century on from the Tasman Bridge collapse. The legacy of the disaster still resonating with residents across Tasmania, with events held across Hobart ensuring we continue to remember the catastrophe.
50 years after the tragic collapse of the Tasman Bridge, families, crew members and first responders gathered on the River Derwent, remembering that fateful moment in history.
We left the Motor Yacht Club here, went to what's known as the Illawarra Span under the Tasman Bridge, where the Lake Illawarra still lies on the bottom.
12 roses released into sea honouring 12 lives lost. The Solomon Tribute hosted by the Motor Yacht Club.
And today we've had a private memorial service that was attended by around 80 invitees.
Sisters Melanie and Roberta honouring their father, Robert Rezick.
Our father actually was one of the people in a car that went over the bridge when the Illawarra struck.
Determined to keep his memory alive.
It was really good listening to some people, especially crewmen on the Illawarra, hearing it from their side, their point of view about how tragic it was.
Tasmanians as a community was affected by the bridge going down, but it was also, the people that went over the bridge, the crew on the Lake Illawarra.
Commemorations continuing at Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery with the opening of On the Edge, featuring 2 cars that narrowly escaped disaster perched where the bridge once stood.
Those cars are really, something you can kind of grab hold of as a really visual image of what happened.
Locals enthralled with history.
I've been hearing stories from people who talk about the noise that it made, that the bridge made when it fell down. I'd never heard those stories before.
It was really rewarding that they've still got this people around that still remembers what happened.
A disaster capturing the hearts of not just Tasmanians, but many across the world.
We flew down from Queensland to come to the memorial.
We've had a huge response. So we've had people from the mainland who didn't know it was on, who've come in and gone, oh my goodness, what an amazing story.
Just before 9:30 tonight, the Tasman Bridge will be closed for 3 minutes. During this time, the piers 17 and 19 will be dimmed to dark blue, marking the impacted zone.
I think it's very important that we honour those that have passed. We should also, reflect on the lessons learnt.
Sarah Benelek, 7 Tasmania News.
Those images of cars hanging over the edge of the Tasman Bridge remain ingrained in our state's history. And tonight, those who've survived the tragedy open up, acknowledging they were only inches away from death.
Teetering precariously on the edge, a 1964 Monero's front wheels hanging where the Tasman Bridge was supposed to be. The heart-stopping moment captured in video, the pictures shown all over the world.
The 10,000-tonne bulk carrier was heading for the EZ works at Risdon when she tore the bridge apart.
On January 5th, 1975, Frank was travelling home from the Huon Valley, his brother-in-law and his daughter in the back seat. But as they approached the Tasman Bridge, the lights went out.
And Dick said, for Christ's sake, get out of the car. He said, the bridge is gone, the bridge is gone.
Frank's car, a green Holden Monero, sat seesawing 45 metres above the water.
And when I kind of swung off the seat and straight down there, it was nothing. Nothing down there. Only a broken part of the bridge.
Bulk carrier at the Lake Illawarra had just collided with several pylons, a 100-metre section of the bridge plunging into the river, taking 4 cars carrying 5 Tasmanians to their deaths.
Divers, meanwhile, are reported to have located one of the cars which plunged off the bridge last night.
The collapse also killing 7 of the crew on board the Illawarra.
2 of those are labelled as missing. One of them is Graham Kemp, the shipwright, who was very brave, and he was given a posthumous decoration for bravery.
In the aftermath, the ship's captain was found guilty of careless navigation.
The Board of Inquiry found that Pelk had made mistakes, but they weren't major ones. And he actually never went to sea again.
50 years on, Frank says his brand new Monero saved his life. Its automatic transmission, larger than a manual car, was what had caught on the bridge's broken edge.
I never ever liked automatic motor cars, but I happened to buy one, and
and that's all that saved our lives.
Could have lost the whole family. Only inches to go and the car would have been in the Derwent River.
In the wake of the disaster, Greater Hobart was sliced in two. Eastern Shore residents were without easy access to schools and the city's major hospitals, with the trip across the bridge taking an hour and a half via Bridgewater.
The only way that you could cross it were two small ferries.
After nearly 2.5 years of construction, the bridge was reopened. 120 feet down, the Lake Illawarra still remains at the bottom of the Derwent.
Really, it's a reminder of the tragedy, and there were some bodies never recovered. There's still cars down there.
These days, traffic comes to a halt when large boats go under. But Frank says he's still often reminded of that terrifying night in 1975 and has no interest in selling his miracle Monaro.
It's a part of Tasmanian history.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
There's been a slight dampener at this afternoon's Jack Jumpers game. The match against the Phoenix sensationally put on hold after heavy rain caused a leak in MyState Bank Arena's roof.
Somebody go on the top of that thing and put some glue on it or something. We can't be sitting around waiting on this leak.
Meanwhile, the Hurricanes game at Ninja Stadium is in doubt tonight. Officials keeping a close eye on the skies before they determine if play will go ahead. With a growing number of bushwalkers running into trouble this summer, police are once again renewing safety calls. They're urging hikers be prepared for all conditions and to never underestimate the dangers of the Tasmanian wilderness.
An unexpected end to a Cradle Mountain rock climbing adventure. 2 interstate tourists winched to safety overnight, unprepared for fading light.
Time has got away from them and they found themselves up on Cradle Mountain on the face itself of a night time. And with that, you get some exposure.
The stranded duo, the latest to need help. Crews called to 2 other bushwalkers' aid in the state south yesterday and follows a string of rescues carried out in recent weeks.
It's certainly a busy time of year for us. 3 in a day would be unusual.
With 3 hikers dying in Tasmania since Christmas, police are again pleading with those heading into the outdoors to never underestimate the dangers of our wilderness and always be prepared for whatever it may throw at you.
The reality is that these are very difficult technical walks and you need to learn how to survive and operate in the Tasmanian bush before you attempt these.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Just when you thought the taste couldn't get any bigger, it has. Organisers say attendance at this year's event is up 18% on last year, with close to 90,000 people going through the gates over the 8-day event.
Nearly 30,000 scallops from Bass Strait were sold, tens of thousands of oysters, nearly 10,000 scoops of ice cream.
The state government has reached an in-principle agreement to extend funding for the festival right until 2030.
Good evening. Hobart recorded 22 today, another muggy day in Launceston with 31, 26 the top at Devonport and 23 in Burnie, with minimum temperatures above average by 1 to 6 degrees. The islands recorded the state's high of 32 today, 28 at Ouse, Strawn 27, Smithton and Friendly Beaches both 26. We saw 25 at Lyowini, 24 at Grove, St Helens 23, 22 at Lowhead and 21 on Marai Island. Isolated light showers moved over parts of the state today as thunderstorms continue to develop throughout the west and upper Derwent Valley. Patchy mid to high level cloud is seen moving over the state from the west. A band of patchy mid to high level cloud extends over southeastern states, including Tasmania. Tomorrow, a developing cold front will clear towards the Tasman Sea as a ridge of high pressure is on the move towards the island from the Bight. South to southwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots, becoming variable 5 to 15 knots about the north and the east, with southwesterly swells at 2 metres. We have a strong wind warning tomorrow for all coastal waters across the state, to include the Derwent Estuary, Frederick Henry, Norfolk and Storm Bay, and also the Channel. A couple of showers for the south tomorrow, Hobart 21, 19 expected at Dover and 21 for Ouse. Showers for the north of the state too, 24 the top in Launceston, 23 at Devonport and 22 in Scottsdale. Showery across the west, 22 for Burnie, morning showers in Strawn 18, wet and becoming windy in Stanley with 20 degrees. A high chance of showers for the east also, St Helens and Ross both 22 and one up in Swansea with 23. Forecast now for Tuesday, fine particularly in the north and west, but partly cloudy skies elsewhere. Another fine day on Wednesday, becoming cloudy across Flinders and the east coast. And on Thursday, possible light showers about the north, otherwise mainly fine. To mainland conditions now for Monday. 37 and fine in Perth, developing showers and possible storms for Canberra 33, 32 and late showers in Sydney, a partly cloudy day in Brisbane with 29 degrees. Cloudy in Hobart right now, 20 degrees. Cloudy also in Launceston, but remaining warm with 28, and cloudy in Devonport with 22. And Lou, what a debut from our very own Beau Webster. He certainly put Tassie back on the map and made us all very proud today.
That's all your news for this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Kim will be with you this week. Good night.